Hungry Man Salisbury Steak in home-style mushroom and onion gravy with creamy mashed potatoes and tender green beans. Includes a chocolate brownie. All right, well, I'm going to quickly zoom in on the ingredients and nutrition here for a minute while we talk about this one. Now, of course, I think just about everybody's had this. It's a classic. This has been around since I was just a little kid and even before that, and it's been a long time since I was a little kid. This is like the classic TV dinner from back when they were called TV dinners. I think this is even the one that Joel sucked on in Risky Business, if I recall correctly. I can't remember for sure. So yeah, I think we all know what this tastes like, but I'm going to review it anyway. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to compare the oven made with the microwave made. This one I'm going to do in the oven, and then I'm going to do one in the microwave a little bit later, mainly because we want to see. Well, here, let's open this thing up. And there it is, a real thing of beauty. TV dinner. It's not just a thing, it's a dinner. It's a bunch of different stuff. This is from the glory days, back before microwaves. And these came in foil trays. But I digress. Anyway, what I want to do is I want to make this thing in the oven. Of course, we're going to see how the brownie turns out, because one of the great things about this is it comes with dessert. They never come with dessert anymore. And we've got a little brownie that actually cooks in the thingy. And we want to see how that turns out in the microwave. So let's fire this thing in the oven and see what happens. All right, here it is. Right away, look at that brownie. That brownie looks delicious. Anyway, this was still boiling when I took it out of the oven, so I'm just going to leave it sit for a couple minutes to cool off. You know, it's really important when food is boiling and bubbling that you not only let it stop boiling, but you let it cool down for long enough that all the water can kind of go back to the places that it was boiling out of. That's really important for the flavors, even with TV dinners. So I'll be back in just a couple seconds, which to you will seem like nothing. All right, I'm back. So let's give this a try. I'm going to start with, actually, first let's just take a look at the box. Look at the meal. Here, I'll lift this out of the water a little bit. Out of the gravy, I should say. Quite honestly, it looks tasty. Of course, I may have had one or two of these before and know what I'm getting into. All right, so here we have a nice little meal, some green beans, some mashed potatoes, and Salisbury steak, or hamburger pretending to be steak, as we like to call it in more sophisticated circles. And this brownie, which I really like the way that's cooked. It looks awesome. I'm going to start with the green beans. All right, so, I haven't actually had one of these in quite a long time. And I was prepared to say that the beans were soggy and completely flavorless. And I would have been wrong, because those beans were quite firm. I wouldn't say they're tasty, but I was expecting something pretty bland. But those taste like green beans. They have some flavor. So already, this part that I was expecting to be the worst part of the dish has won me over. And I'm not going to say that they're really flavorful, but the thing is that they're firm. They're not soggy, and they have some flavor. They're totally palatable. Like they taste pretty good. I'll be finishing those. That's awesome, because again, I was expecting that to be the worst part. So now let's take a taste of the potatoes. Potatoes always taste like just your basic powdered reconstituted potatoes. And there you go. They taste like mashed potatoes. Of course, nobody in their right mind would be eating these without the gravy on them. And there you go. They taste a bit better, although the gravy's mildly flavorful. The gravy tastes a little bit bland on those potatoes, to be perfectly honest. All right, now let's get to the headline item. The Salisbury steak. And you can see some mushrooms and some onions in the gravy, which is nice. I'm going to say that tastes all right. Hold on a second. How it tastes is all right. The meat is pretty good. Since it was cooked in the oven, it's nice and evenly cooked all the way through. The good thing about cooking stuff in the oven as opposed to the microwave is the juices kind of get a chance to flow around in the meat, and they don't just kind of cook in place. In the microwave, they just don't have time to seep through and seep out and really let it take on what it's supposed to be. So the meat tastes pretty good. The gravy is on the bland side. I'm just going to say it. It has a flavor. But what it really doesn't have a lot of is meat flavor. You can taste the mushrooms. You can taste the onions a bit. And then it's a bit salty, but when you look at this nice rich gravy in here, you're really wanting kind of that really beefy flavor to it. And unfortunately, it's lacking in that. A little bit of just a little bit more of just a beef stock flavor in this gravy, I think would make it taste so much better. But that being said, it's pretty good. Price-wise, this was $2.99 regular price. This is a fair amount of food for $2.99, so you're not expecting top-line quality, and that's kind of how I'm judging it. Like I said, so far, this is something I would eat. Gravy's a tiny bit on the bland side, but what you can taste tastes good. It's not like it's bland and bad. It's just not enough good. And now, of course, here's the best part. Oh, look at that. Oh, so this is the brownie. And you can kind of hear, that's a nice hard little crust, and then it's all gooey inside. How is this going to be bad? And that is a delicious fudge brownie that cooked itself up in the oven with the TV dinner. That tastes great. And I love these TV dinners. I wish they made more of this kind of stuff nowadays, because you get courses. You get like a small meal, but in a nice light portion, right? If you try to make this up out of other sort of convenient stuff, you'd end up eating an entire day's worth of food just to try and make one little meal. So, for $2.99, again, it's not the greatest tasting food in the world, but I'm not going to be ashamed to say I like this. And you're getting some vegetables, real vegetables, actual whole plant vegetables. Sure, they've been frozen and whatever, but this is a reasonably nutritious, decently sized, nourishing meal for $2.99. I would eat this again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sign off for now, finish this off, and then soon I'm going to come back and make one of these in the microwave just to see the difference. But I'll tell you, there's no way that's turning out that good. That brownie was amazing. This is incredible. All right, I'm feeling like a hungry man again, so let's microwave up us one of these bad boys and see how it turns out. Oops. Always read the instructions. All right, it's not done yet, but one of the steps was halfway through cooking, along with all the stirring and shit that you normally have to do, is you have to take the brownie out and set it aside. So I'm going to do that now. And we can see the brownie. It doesn't have that nice crispy top crust that it got cooked in the oven. It's soft all the way through. It's said to remove it with a fork. I'm trying to do that and keep it as intact as possible. Okay, we got most of it. So that's set aside for later. That's already kind of a disappointment. It's going to be cooled off by the time we get to dessert. But, that's why they don't make TV dinners anymore. It's too complicated to make everything cook evenly in the microwave, I guess. All right, I'm going to finish this up and be right back. All right, so here it is, fresh out of the microwave. Doesn't look quite as nice as the oven cooked, I guess, but can you blame it? All right, let's give this a taste first, just like I did last time. And I'm going to try to focus on mainly what I see as the differences as opposed to the overall quality, since I've already been into that. And I think the beans taste a little better in the microwave, I gotta be honest. You might have even heard they're so firm they're practically crunchy, and they have more flavor. They taste like green beans. Like, these are really quite good green beans. So I'm not sure that they're more firm. It's been some time since I had the last one, but those are pretty firm green beans. They don't even really taste boiled. Yeah, I always seem to remember green beans and frozen dinners as being really mushy and flavorless, so either my memory has changed or they've improved. All right, let's try the potatoes now. And these, like I said, the mashed potatoes, the reconstituted mashed potatoes, they just always seem to work out. And yeah, those taste pretty much the same. And now the gravy and the Salisbury steak. Okay, there's going to be some background noise for a minute because I forgot to shut off the air conditioning blower. God damn it. Anyway, back to the Salisbury steak. I would say that all tastes pretty much the same as before. The gravy, same deal. It's not bad. You can taste the onions, you can taste the mushrooms. I just personally wish that it tasted beefier. It just isn't quite as beefy and rich and meaty as it looks, and that just makes it slightly disappointing. It's still completely palatable, but it just looks a little bit better than it tastes. And now the final part, the brownie, and as you can see, the top this time is soft. It's still got a bit of a nice top on it, but it doesn't have that nice crust that it did last time. And you can see it fully cooked like a piece of cake, even though I did it in the microwave. It's got a nice texture inside. Still tastes delicious, but the thing is, it's cold because I had to defile it and get it all broken and pull it out of the tray when it was halfway finished. And that was hard to do without really kind of messing it up. And it's been sitting there now for several minutes, and I haven't even finished the meal. If I was actually having the dinner, I'd be getting well through that, and it would be ice cold, which is going to be because I'm going to eat this and then I eat the brownie. So that's a big disappointment. The previous brownie stayed nice and warm in the tray next to the warm food. It had that delicious crust on it. I mean, this is a $2.99 meal. You could pay $2 for that goddamn brownie served to you warm in a hoity-toity coffee shop. And if they served it to you on a plate and you didn't know where it came from, you probably wouldn't even feel ripped off. So at the end of the day, all of this stuff didn't really benefit from the oven much. For the extra time, is it worth it? But boy, this is good. But when it came out of the oven, it was great. As for the meal, for $2.99, honestly, I like this. Some people might poo-poo it as a cheap-ass TV dinner, but that's a pretty reasonable spread of pretty reasonable food for $2.99 that you can cook up in just a few minutes or a little bit longer if you want your brownie to be terrific. So overall, positive review. Hungry Man Salisbury Steak.